Hope so. I mean...
Hey, folks. We are back to round 2 here at Modern FNM at GameSwap Mason, brought to you by Top Deck Productions, streaming on Twitch TV. And we got a pretty solid emerging modern matchup here. We've got Tropical Fish.
Yeah, which is blue-green.
Blue-green. What else would Tropical Fish be? It's got Misty Rainforest, right? I mean, of course it's blue-green.
It does, doesn't it?
And then we've got Boros Burn. This is a fun matchup. It's, you know, both decks got to go kind of aggro, but both of them have some pretty neat lines to control the other player. A really big card for Chris here is in the main board is Searing Blaze.
Most definitely.
Big card for Calvin is I think Harbinger of the Tides.
Yep.
But also stacking Lords is just fine.
Yep.
What do you think of Curse Catcher in the matchup? Slows him down just enough, or not good?
I can see it.
I think it's probably good when it's good.
Yeah.
If your opponent's loaded up on 1 mana spells, probably not very good, but probably pretty good against the 2 mana spells.
Most definitely. So one thing with the old mono blue list of fish, the one advantage they had against burn typically is they didn't take damage off their mana bases.
Yeah. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna see Calvin here shocking and fetching, so not super helpful.
Because typically Calvin's turn 1 play was a shock and breeding pool into Aether Vial.
Right.
In old fish list, it would be Island and Aether Vial.
Right.
That's 2 less damage.
And I'm not sure the green creatures really are very good in this matchup. The green creatures are good against things like Tron. Like the 1-drop is very aggressive.
Most definitely.
It's an aggressive card. It's a 1-mana 2/2. But that's not what you need against Burn. You know, I'm just not sure it helps. You know,
personally, I think it could allow some scenarios where you could race a lot faster against Burn.
Race a little bit faster, and that's relevant. And I suppose blocking a Goblin Guide isn't that bad.
No, not at all.
With your 2/2, especially after you get to possibly draw a land. But okay, so we'll see a Boros Charm come out, giving prowess to this guy. Yeah, so there we go. So Aether Vial, Silver Curse Catcher there, I mean, is very good.
Yeah.
Good play by Calvin.
Yeah.
Playing out the Aether Vial instead of playing out, because if you just play out the Curse Catcher, your opponent's probably going to play around it, and ultimately you don't take damage out of their hand, you just take speed.
Most definitely.
Whereas if you Aether Vial it in, you know, you have the blowout potential. In some ways, that Aether Vial there, or the Curse Catcher said you gain 4 life, which is pretty good here.
So one thing I didn't like about Chris right here, he had his Lightning Bolt in his hand, and he elected not to bolt Calvin to deal additional 4 more damage to the Prowess Trigger and Lightning Bolt to put Calvin at 9.
Yeah, I agree, especially because he's got a Helix in hand, right? Like, you do have to be able to deal with creatures if necessary, but when you have, if you had like a Lava Spike in hand, I'd say holding onto the Bolt is fine. But when you got a Helix, yeah, I think I agree with you. Probably no reason not to fire off that bolt, especially, I mean, Chris is on the play here, and when you're on the play,
and
you really want to consider being the aggressor at all times. So I think firing off that bolt there for the extra prowess trigger would have been worth.
But he may get, so maybe holding on the bolt may pay off in the end here.
Is that the new Lord? The new?
It's a new
2-man, the new shitty Kira, but some people think it's better Kira.
You really can't compare.
Well, no, they're highly comparable. What the differences are against things like Abrupt Decay, and then the fact that it's a Merfolk, but they're very comparable.
Yeah. So I think Christus has a win in hand, 6 damage in his hand to kill him. Wait, is that a? Yeah, that's a Rift Bolt and a Helix. So he doesn't have to do much anymore else this game, because there's no Spurnacies out for Calvin. So I think Chris is just going to get this game won.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because look at the additional 4 damage Calvin had to take just off his lands.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's. I think if it weren't for that, Chris is still in a good spot. I mean, he saw the Searing Blaze game 1. That's a big deal.
Well, they do play 4, so it's not unheard of for the Burn to see it at least 1.
So I think Calvin's just going to sit here and think for a long time, but we're pretty sure he's out of it. But you never know. maybe Calvin could cast a Pulse of Marasa right here. Pulse of Marasa, get back my Curse Catcher.
I don't think these blue-green fish decks are playing that main deck.
Hey, you never know. You never know. If I were playing blue-green fish, I would play one Pulse of Marasa in the sideboard. Just one. It'd probably be my only green card in the sideboard. But if I were going to play this blue-green Merfolk deck, I would want to have at least one green card in the sideboard. And I'm pretty sure that's the one I would pick.
All right. Oh my.
So he's got a lot of damage here, but not going to matter. Yeah, swing for 9, put you to 10, don't care. His only mana up is
Mutavault.
A Mutavault, but his Aether Vial's tapped, so I think Chris just shows him the...
Yeah. Let's see if Chris knows to target Calvin. He does.
All right, sounds good. So, game 2 here. I was looking at these players' sideboards, Robert.
All right.
Let me tell you what I saw.
I'm going to guess.
For Tropical Fish... Oh, go ahead and guess, yeah.
I want to guess Burn easier than Fish real quick.
Okay, sure. Go for it.
Some non-zero amount of Searing Bloods.
He did have 2 Searing Bloods.
2 paths?
He had exactly 2 paths, yeah.
Let's see here. 2 Core Firewalkers.
He had 2, but those aren't coming in.
I know, I'm just trying to guess.
But so the Searing Bloods probably are coming in. Path,
yep.
maybe bring in 1, but I don't think you want both paths.
If he's playing any like hateful cards like Ensnaring Bridge in his sideboard, I can see that coming in.
So he has exactly 1 Ensnaring Bridge. I think you bring that in.
Most definitely.
If you bring in the Ensnaring Bridge, I would say don't bother with the path. But yeah, I could see 1 path. Definitely not both paths, but I could see 1. What you're taking out here for Chris, I'm pretty sure, is just the Skull Cracks. You don't want Skull Crack against a deck that doesn't have it. You know, blue, green. Mono blue certainly doesn't have any life gain. So, like, and blue green, very unlikely still.
It really depends. Honestly, I'm not totally familiar with the blue-green Fish's sideboards because it's still an emergent archetype in Modern.
Yeah, people really just play. So yeah, I agree. The deck's not really. People haven't decided on what's good and what's the best way to play the deck right now. It's still being figured out. But right now, the sideboards pretty much just look like mono blue sideboards.
Yeah, I know there's like 2 deep root analysis in the sideboard.
I haven't seen. What is that?
It's the enchantment that says whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, make a 1/1 Merfolk with hexproof.
For how much mana?
2 or 3.
The Merfolk having hexproof is interesting. That doesn't seem good. Here's my thought on that card.
Yep.
Not having seen anyone play it, but my initial reaction on that card is it's good in a grindy matchup, but every grindy matchup probably has Abrupt Decay, which makes that card bad. Against Control, I suppose, I guess that's fine. Yeah, I could see it.
Like, I can totally see that card coming in and controlling grindy matchups, because...
I can't see it coming in against a Death Shadow deck, though, because it gets hit by... you're just bringing in another card that gets hit by Stubborn Denial, if they... if they left in Stubborn Denial, which maybe they did or maybe they didn't. But
I think that would just have to come down to playtesting the Fish player has done against Death Shadow.
So you have to... It gets no value when it comes out. You have to cast a Merfolk.
Yeah.
See, that just seems... for one, you're playing Aether Vial, which doesn't cast Merfolk.
No.
I can't get behind that card. But if you've seen people play it, maybe they liked it. Maybe they're just trying it out. Who knows?
Yeah, like, I can totally see that card coming in for the control and grindy matchups.
Definitely. I don't think you want it against any deck that has Abrupt Decay.
Well, it just gives you...
For me, it's sort of like... It's like when I tried to play Evolutionary Leap. It's like, you want that card for, like, grindy matchups, like against a Jund deck, to try to blank their removal. The problem is, all those decks have the removal for the card Evolutionary Leap.
Well, they only have play 2, so... It's just like
two Abrupt Decays?
Yeah, 2 decays. And
so when I was trying to play Evolutionary Leap, it was back in Splinter Twin days.
Oh, that's probably where you messed up.
Everybody had 3 or 4, yeah.
That's where you messed up.
But either way, it's not good.
When we have the turn 1/1-drop green dude.
So on the play, that seems good, especially because like if Chris has a Goblin Guide, though I assume Chris took out his Goblin Guides, but on the draw.
Is this a 1/1 right now, right?
Yeah, it's a 1/1 right now. Yeah, he has to control an island or a Merfolk.
Yeah, so It won't really do anything.
So tell me if I'm wrong.
All right.
I really don't. Okay. I don't think Chris wanted any Goblin Guides on the draw.
I can totally see that. I know Zach doesn't really like Goblin Guides on the draw in these like creature-based matchups that go wide.
Especially this blue-green Merfolk, right? Like you got a lot of guys. I mean, this thing's gonna be a 2/2 and can trade off with it, and then your Goblin.
It's gonna be a 3/3 actually, because Lord and Merfolk.
Right. Well, if he plays a Lord, yeah.
Yeah, or if you just even let him with a breeding pool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I actually agree with you. You're not wrong.
I don't think you want any guides on the draw here. If I were Chris, I would have said take out all 4 guides and take out like whatever 2 or 3 skull cracks you have.
Yeah.
Bring in 2 Searing Bloods, 1 Path, 1 Ensnaring Bridge, and then I'm trying to think what else he had in there. I know he had better stuff to bring in.
Most definitely. Yeah, it's just like Chris is like more resilient on his spells in this matchup more than creatures. So I can totally see just taking out guides in the play draw scenario.
Yeah. So I did see Calvin's sideboard as well. Calvin's really the only things he could bring in here, I think, are 2 Dispels. That's all he had. He had a bunch of. He had a typical.
I don't know actually.
He had a typical fish sideboard. He had like 4, I think 3 or 4 ceremonies, 3 or 4 relics.
All right.
2 Hercules Recall.
All right, for the affinity.
But yeah, the only thing I saw that was really and then he had Disdainful Stroke, which is worthless here. I think he really just had 2 Dispel.
It is? Disdainful Stroke's worthless in the burn matchup?
Yep. Unless they're playing what's that card that like the one that if you have 10 life deals 10 damage? The 4 mana.
I don't know.
If it says like it's like a 4 mana red instant. I'm pretty sure it's like something Hidetsugu because it's like Heartless Hidetsugu.
Is this like from Kamigawa block?
Yeah, it's a Hidetsugu card. It says if your opponent has 10 life, this card deals 10 damage. 4 mana. I think it's an instant. 4 mana instant.
All right.
Let us know in chat if you know that card, if you have any success playing with it, or if you've been totally ducked on by it.
Yeah, I can totally see someone getting ducked on in EDH.
Yeah, I don't know. EDH is right. Though
that's the only format I can think.
Well, speaking of Hidetsugu, you know Heartless Hidetsugu.
No.
He's a guy. When you tap him, I think he deals like half of your opponent's life total, but then I think he deals you half damage too.
All right.
But people play him with Gazella Blade of Gold Knight in EDH decks.
Okay.
Where she's the commander, and so you just kill your opponent and you don't take anything or something. Like it's hilarious.
No, you still take something.
Yeah, you take half. I'm not even sure if he deals damage.
You take a 4th. Or is it loss of life?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you would take a 4th. Yeah, if that's actually what the card says.
If it's damage, you kill your opponent and you take a 4th. But if it's loss of life, it's still half.
So we'll see the Goblin Guide and the Merfolk, the 1-drop trade-off.
Yeah.
So I guess in this case, that Goblin Guide is really like a mini Searing Blaze. It did 2 damage and traded with a card. So that's not bad.
And we see the Ensnaring Bridge right here.
So, yeah, he's got a bunch of cards in hand, though, so I don't think you play it yet.
You're right.
That's just the one of Ensnaring Bridge, so...
Mm-hmm.
If I were playing it in Burn, I think I would only play 1.
Okay, also the card that you were talking about was Hid Second Right.
Hidetsugu Second Right? Okay. Yeah, sweet card.
Thank you, I'm not going to be able to pronounce her name.
Baikwinapur. Thank you very much for your insight. It was a Hidetsugu card. I was right.
Yeah.
So Lightning Bolt seems good.
I agree. Bolt's probably one of the best cards in Magic.
It's not one of the best cards in Magic. One of the best cards in Modern, probably.
I don't know. 1 mana, 3 damage. That's a pretty good rate.
It's very good. Well, it's very fair in Legacy. It's like, oh yeah, that's solid.
Yeah. Then you have Lightning Strike, which is like its little brother.
Yeah, and then you have what's the new 3 mana one?
Open Fire.
Well, is that the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Open Fire, 3 mana for 3.
It's still great in limited.
Do you remember when we had Incinerate in Standard?
Nope, didn't play that Standard.
Incinerate is just a 2 mana. It's a Lightning Strike, but it has a can't be regenerated clause. Those were the days.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know.
Unfortunately, I was not playing Standard or really Magic at all when we had Lightning Bolt in Alara Standard.
Same.
what was it, like M10, M11?
I don't know this.
That would have been sweet.
I first started Magic with EDH.
Okay. So what's neat about the I think it's the M10 lightning bolt.
The sweet flavor text.
Yeah, it has the reminders text. It says like the Spark Mage shrieked when he learned, or when he saw, the fires of his youth come alive again.
Yeah,
it's got something sweet about like
like
how you'd never see. He thought he would never see another lightning bolt again.
Yeah, like basically.
And then it's in standard.
Yeah.
It's very awesome flavor text. Kudos to Wizards and the R&D team on that one.
Sorcerer died because it got blocked.
Yeah.
I think. I wouldn't assume so.
Spreading Seas on Inspiring Vantage takes Chris off a white. Not sure how relevant that is.
Cuts him off 4 spells at least, aka 4 Boros charms, because I don't think we've seen one cast, and 4 helixes.
Oh, I'd forgotten. Chris has an anger, which he did bring in.
All right, so
we see Searing Blaze in response to Master coming down to hit the Silver Gill Adept.
I like that. Sweet line. Chris's hand is just very clawed.
I guess I don't see the point of doing that if you could
Have
just anger next turn.
Yeah,
right?
totally. He wants to save 3 points of life.
Right, and if he'd just been able to hit the land drop, he could have made Searing Blaze into 3 damage, right?
Yeah, or he just cast a bridge that's in his hand.
Yeah, either bridge or anger are great answers to that creature threat. So I'm not sure why you fire off the Searing. Like, it seems fine, and maybe you have to worry about that mana that Calvin has up there, but they're also, he'd have a 1-mana counterspell. Well, there's no 1-mana counterspell that Calvin would be playing that deals with anger, right? Dispel's the only thing.
Or his Curse Catcher that he has in hand.
Is he?
I think so.
Okay, well, I suppose that makes...
So...
I suppose that makes not relying on anger next turn fine, but now you can just play the bridge.
Yeah, but if Chris doesn't... If Chris draws...
But he has...
Calvin still swing with the 2 dudes he has.
Yeah, so now he's going to still swing for 4. So put Chris to 8.
Yeah, then... How does Calvin deal with this?
So he can't really... He would have had to bring in Hurkyl's Recall.
And I don't think he was playing around bridge at all. So what Calvin could do... Now this is a long shot. Hear me out, okay?
All right.
If he has another Spread and Seize, he can Spread and Seize a mountain.
Yep.
And hope
that Chris builds up cards in hand.
Yes.
By being unable to cast things.
That's the only out I see here.
That's somewhat reasonable.
Swing your 4 in now. But also if Chris is only able to like 1 spell a turn, that might give Calvin enough time to build a board to kill him.
Sure. This is the kind of thing where I wonder if you have to use the green sideboard to some other effect. Like, think if he had a Reclamation Sage in this sideboard. Reclamation Sage you could bring in anyway, not just for bridge, but for Eidolon.
Yep.
And then it would actually be a fine card, right? Hitting Eidolon, and it's still a 3-mana 2/1.
Anger here. So I feel like if you're Calvin here, you just have to double sack.
Yeah, you do, because they're dying anyway. So you definitely double sack.
Well, you make Chris have to fetch Shock anyways.
Yeah.
In case. Like, tiny edges. He might fetch Shock here.
No, he's got another mountain.
Yeah, so Calvin really needs to figure out something here.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, at this point, though, even all 4 Spreading Seas would only just put him out of reach of casting red spells and building up spells in hand.
Yep.
I have seen one way that Calvin's deck could get around this, but I don't think he's playing. Have you seen people... There have been people cutting all 4 Aether Vials for 4 Noble Hierarchs instead. And of course, Noble Hierarch could swing under this bridge, but I'm pretty sure Calvin is not doing that because we saw Vials game 1.
All right, so Spread and Seize his own Tarn. I mean...
I think we're going to see Calvin scoop him up here. It's too bad Merfolk doesn't have anything like a Shaman in the pack.
Oh, that might save Calvin some time. buy him some time.
Dispel. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure buying time does anything though, right? I mean.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, Calvin. Let's see what you got.
I mean, we might be here for a little longer than we should.
So leaving the dispel on top.
All right, here we go.
I guess if you know you don't have any answers, that's what you can do.
Yep. All right.
So inspiring vantage for Chris. Oh, Arid Mesa. Play the Eidolon. Oh, wait a minute. Play the Eidolon. Playing the Eidolon can lose you the game, can it?
So
because you have to now build up that you could possibly lose the game by playing Eidolon, because if you play that and you draw other creatures, you then have to play them out. Whereas Calvin doesn't have to play. You have to play them out to save up against Bridge. And at this point, Calvin's creatures are somewhat bigger.
Okay.
Right? Are you hearing me?
Oh yeah, I totally see what you're saying now.
If Chris just should not have played the Eidolon. He should have kept one card in hand each turn and then drawn and played one off the top. But I don't think you can play the Eidolon. So playing land is fine. But
yep. Eidolon. Yeah, I can totally see that now.
I mean, Eidolon can lose you the game here. In fact, if Chris draws another Eidolon,
that's awkward.
If Chris chains Eidolons here, he could lose.
Yeah, and like since we
know what is that?
Calvin has a dispel.
What card is that?
So
okay, put him to 2, and you take 2. Yeah, so 2. Okay, so Calvin's gonna decide to take 2 instead of 3.
I mean,
so life total should be 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Can we update the life totals, please? 3 to 5 from the Eidolon triggers.
Man, this game is has there been a possibility of Chris not being able to win because of his own doing of casting that Eidolon?
I'm trying to think. We'll have to see what Chris's draw is. I think if Chris, so he draws another land, so has to pass turn. If Chris draws like Eidolon Swiftspear right now, I think he. What is that?
We just won this scenario.
Is that a Swiftspear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you hold the Swiftspear in hand because you don't need to cast it yet because it's just one card in hand for Bridge.
Correct.
But if next turn, think if next turn he draws a second Swiftspear, right? If he draws a second Swiftspear next turn, then he has to hold him in hand or cast him.
Yeah.
This is a pickle. Searing Blaze off the top, but you can't afford to. Well, yeah. Can he afford to? Yeah, he'll fetch to.
He might not have another basic mountain in his deck.
Yeah, assuming he does, then he wins here, right? He'll.
No, Calvin has another dispel in his hand.
Oh, does he? So he'll go to 1.
Yep.
And then Chris will be at 1.
No, he has to fetch. He might have to fetch shock here.
If he has to, no. You think he has more than? You think?
Wait, no, he doesn't have to fetch shock. He can just like find Sacred Fountain. Yeah, it's a landfall.
Oh yeah, get it. Just put it in tapped. Yeah. So put it in tapped.
Yeah. So
he'll cast Searing Blaze, go to 2.
I think Calvin wins this game.
I'm not sure. Calvin has to dispel and go to 1 though.
Yeah, no, but then so the second Chris casts another spell, Eidolon trigger will go in the stack. So since Chris is going to 2 right here.
Yeah.
Dispel. So.
Oh, so now.
Yeah.
So now
Calvin wins.
Yeah, Chris now has to. Right. If Chris ever casts a spell, he just loses the game on the spot.
Unless Calvin doesn't know this.
Yeah, you're right. So. Yeah, Chris loses. So someone help me out here. Well, he actually drew Eidolon Swiftspear anyway.
Yeah.
He just loses. Okay, block it, please. So now if you're Chris, do you play Swiftspear only?
Yeah.
You don't play the other Eidolon.
Yeah.
Wow, this is actually really interesting. Folks, are you watching this? Well, I thought this was going to be dumb and boring, but this is going somewhere.
So Calvin might be able to maneuver his way out, maybe? I don't think so.
So Chris has 1 card in hand.
It's an Eidolon.
And wait. Wait, why did? Wait. Wait. What?
What? I'm so.
Why did Calvin? Why did Calvin concede?
I don't know, because he just thinks he's dead. So he wasn't thinking about. He wasn't playing to his house, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Calvin conceded. Maybe there's something we're missing.
No, he just conceded. Like, he thought...
Because he was at 1?
Yeah. And he didn't... He thought he just had a spell in his hand when it was actually another Eidolon.
Yeah, the fact that it was another Eidolon, I mean... Yeah, we're trying to figure that out, folks. I think Calvin just...
Conceded.
Made it the impetuous decision to concede because he felt his doom was imminent, but his opponent's hand was an Eidolon. Yeah, I think...
So...
Yeah, he would have... I'm a little confused. We're trying to hash this one out here.
So basically, if Chris had an Eidolon play, then cast a spell, he would have lost the game.
Right. But he didn't have one in play.
Yeah.
But he had just a Swift Spear in play. But he had an Eidolon in hand, and if his second card on top was Eidolon, which it was, right?
Yeah.
So he would have had 2 Eidolons in hand, meaning he has to cast one. And then if his next card is a non-burn... Actually, if his card is a burn spell, it doesn't matter. He has to put an Eidolon to play.
I mean, no, he doesn't. Because if he even has double Eidolon in hand, he has the Swift Spear to chump. The Master Poultry. No, he has Wait, no, he would have lost because Calvin had a Lord of Land in his hand.
But he can't cast Lord.
If he has Eidolon play, but if... Oh, wait, yeah, then he can't attack. Yeah, this is tricky.
Folks, we'll revisit this one. For now, we're gonna look for another. Tell us what you think happened there, or what you think the players could have done differently. Obviously, we're a little upset that Calvin conceded too. We think he could have done something else there. But anyway, we're gonna get another match for you, so don't go away. We'll get a second match for the tail end of round 2 here. Be right back.
All right.